Hi everyone, delonewolf here and welcome back to the Sunday recap, my weekly vlog where I talk a bit about my last week in games. And as always, we'll start with EVE Online, which in the first half of the week has been pretty good. I actually did a decent amount of conduits in order to get my DED LP up. I do want that set of implants at least, and then a couple of the skins as well. So there's definitely work to be done there as I try to earn those myself. I could of course just go to the market, buy them straight from there, but I feel like setting yourself like a mini goal like that, something to do while we wait for more information on EVE Online, is actually pretty nice. So I am going to run more conduits and I'm gonna try to earn that LP myself and then make these items myself as well, because we can only buy blueprint copies of course from the LP store there. At the moment I'm actually using the Praxis, so some of the lessons that I've learned there while running these conduits is that the Vindicator is a great ship. It's definitely the more efficient ship, but it's sometimes also risky because I got into structure on a couple of these conduits. If you're unlucky on the cruiser and it's a lot of DPS with lots of Kikimoras there as well, well, you can get into trouble. A couple of misses from your guns do mean that you take a lot of damage, and just one Repper, which is what I'm running with at the moment, isn't enough, and the buffer isn't that big on the Vindicator either. So it's either an investment in like faction webs in order to be able to web out to 15 kilometers and then approach and actually use the void, or it's going to be switch to another ship, which is what I'm doing at the moment. I'm actually using the Regen Praxis, which has been going very well, never been in trouble there, but I have been losing some drones, and so there the lesson I think is that they are very aggressive to drones if they basically do too much damage compared to your other weapon system. And it really looks like the Strike Levens have sort of like a memory through the waves as well, because what I've experienced is that on a couple of the conduits I basically dropped my drones right off the bat. I just wanted to get that out of the way. They started attacking first before my missile hits, because you know they start 70 kilometers out, so they get to 50-40, my drones are already attacking, and then they become very aggressive against my drones. Had to switch them out quite often. Actually, if there's a Weber there, that's when I lost like a couple of drones because of that. But the tactic does seem to work on the very first wave. Just wait for them to come in range, launch a couple of missile attacks, and then your ship becomes a primary target. And I'm not sure if this is correct, I haven't done that much testing on it just yet, but it looks like once your ship is the primary target, they don't like to switch back to your drones, which always stay behind a little bit on the total damage done or something like that. I'm not sure exactly how it works of course, but that was a very interesting lesson. And now well, what I do on the first wave, I wait it out, launch a couple of missile volleys, and then deploy the drones and start using them as well. And overall it's been a pretty good experience running these conduits. I also did a little bit of exploration, just a couple of small rounds, found a couple of good sites, but in the second half of the week Dital was hit by an invasion just as we got into a new skilling spree. So for the first couple of days I just jump clone to Iona, the Galente system that is very central in EVE Online. I really like its location when it comes to going to trade hubs. Did a bit of exploration there, but mostly just kept up with the skilling spree. And then of course I also did my PI, kept up with the blueprint copy business and refueled the stations. Everything is good to go for another month, but yeah, we just got that big donation, so that's not a problem. We are going to be able to keep the structures up and running without too much trouble. And yeah, other than that, I'm waiting for more information on EVE Online. Someone pointed out that we're not gonna get like a public roadmap anymore, or we're not likely to get a public roadmap anymore. Well, that's not really what I'm asking. You know, I'm just looking forward to like a trailer and maybe an expansion that's being announced or something like that, because at the moment it is really very low on information as to what to expect in just the upcoming months for EVE Online. But I think all of that is coming with EVE Vegas, so just a little bit more patience and then hopefully some great news there. And next up we have a little bit of Path of Exile. I have been playing some more of that in the Blight League, and my focus has been on a Holy Flame totem character, actually not a Hierophant this time but a Chieftain, because of all of the extra fire damage and physical damage that they can get, but also some really powerful defensive bonuses such as plus 100 to fire resistance, which means that you'll always be kept on fire resistance no matter what, and then it also converts some of the physical damage you take to fire damage, meaning that you become more tanky. I went with a very tanky build as well, lots of focus on extra life, extra mana. I have the passive where whenever I take damage, it's first gonna take mana away from me before my life. It just adds to my HP pool basically, and I do feel like I've got a pretty big one. If I get into trouble, I can try to leap out and I can try to recover from that without really risking to go too low. It has a big drawback, namely that on Kitava, for instance, in the third phase of the final Kitava fight, I ended up without mana and no charges on my 1 mana pot, which I was running at the time, and then of course ads kept doing a little bit of damage to me, and so my mana stayed at 0, couldn't deploy new totems, and I just couldn't recover from that, and actually died on that fight, I think for the first time on that character, because I was really focusing on a decently tanky build at that time, and I should have gone for a second mana pot, which I did after that, and at the moment I'm basically into maps with that character. I'm a sucker for that decently passive playstyle, you could say. Totems I think is great, you just put them where you think they'll do the most damage and then focus on keeping your character safe as much as possible. It is no longer my favorite playstyle though. With the Blight League I would say that the minions have overtaken that spot, or have taken that spot, because of how awesome it is now. You have lots of options. You can make one set of minions a tank basically with a support gem, other ones can become far more aggressive with another support gem, and the rework in my opinion is really great. Which with minions, Necromancer is like super powerful, although I still need to think about how do I want to make that work with more HP, because she was just too weak in the defense capabilities, but I focused so much on minion damage that I definitely think I could drop a little bit of that, focus on more life gear as well, because I went with like full uniques, anything that buffed up my minions. Alright, I went with that two-handed sword, plus 1 to zombies, skeletons and Spectre. Okay, sounds good, I'm taking that, which of course does mean that you have a lot less defensive capability, so that's a balance that you always have to strike in Path of Exile. It was actually a very fun exercise going with the overpowered damage and the full minion army basically with the witch, and actually got to like level 84 pretty damn easily and quickly, and now I'm trying something a little bit different, of course, with a more tanky Holy Flame totem Chieftain, and that's going very well as well, but now I do need to fine-tune him a little bit and find the right gear with the right balance, because the maps do feel a lot slower than on the witch basically, and so my leveling up has also slowed down substantially. But Path of Exile is an insanely good game, especially because it's free to play, so you can access all that content without having to put down a dime. I myself have bought quite a few stashes, especially some of the stashes for like the unique items, the currency items, the maps and things, not the maps, I don't have that one, but the cards and all of that stuff, basically so that I've got plenty of room and that I support the game, which has already given me, I don't know, hundreds of hours I think of fun as well. So Path of Exile remains one of my go-to games. It's really replaced Diablo 3 with the seasons there. I'm now focusing on Path of Exile whenever a new league comes out, and we will see. I will try to get a little bit more work done with the Holy Flame totem, but then for the next league I'm basically hoping that I can finally stick to one character, have a plan ready, and then just really try to push to maybe like red maps or something like that, which is something that I have never done, but it stays one of my favorite games, and they're keeping me in that coming back loop with every new league so far, so good on them, and lots of fun for me. Which brings me to the third game of the week with, the invasion in Dithal in the second week. EVE Online dropped off substantially, and that's when I noticed that Destiny 2 came to Steam in a free-to-play manner that seemed pretty interesting. You basically got the base game, which I actually bought from Blizzard when it was like on sale by quite a bit. I'm not sure if it was like 50% off or 30% off or something like that, but I had already played Destiny 2 a long time ago. I'd forgotten almost all of it, and I went into that just with a fresh start. Basically, I didn't really want to like get my old character on there. Felt like a fresh start was what I wanted, so that's what I did. I downloaded the free-to-play version of Destiny 2 from Steam. I booted that up. In the first evening it was very busy, but despite just a couple of connection problems and like a small queue to get into the game, I feel like it's been running very smoothly. Performance has been pretty damn amazing, and I've actually been having quite a bit of fun re-exploring, rediscovering Destiny 2 so far. So you're not pushed straight into the storylines anymore, but you also get multiple of them. At the moment I'm actually redoing I don't know, it's called Red Thread or something like that, the story that basically shipped with the game at first, but I've also explored a lot of the planets as well with their main storylines, done some adventures, done like strike, a couple of PvP activities as well. I've basically gone through some of the activities in the game looking for what I enjoy the most. My characters are at like is it light level 900 or something like that, basically a soft cap that you can reach pretty quickly, and then of course if you want to keep upgrading your gear you have to do stuff like raid and things like that. Well, I'm gonna be solo enjoying that, and I'm not sure. We'll have to see how much more time I can spend in Destiny 2, how much more fun I get out of it, and if I think that the game deserves basically me purchasing the expansion so that I get the full experience there. I'm still not sure about that, but so far it has been a lot of fun to play Destiny 2, to rediscover that. At first I went with a hunter just to see how that one feels and works, and well, they've got definitely a cool ultimate ability, but you need to aim quite well with that, and that's not my strong suit. So I ended up going for a Titan with the hammer of Wrath, you could say. Ultimate, it's quite a lot of fun, AoE damage wherever you aim, so very effective. Also a bit more of a tanky character. I'm not really good with the shields, I'm not sure if they're actually that useful, but it's a lot of fun. I like the full automatic weapons mostly just because they've got lots of ammo, so I can just spray the bullets around, try to kill everything and move on to the next objective. And yeah, for a free-to-play experience now, of course, I do think that it's a lot that is being offered here, especially because next to that first storyline, I think there's two others that you can do, like two other expansions that you get for free. There's lots of repeatable content and public content as well on all of these planets. I still have to discover some of them. In fact, I think I've basically retraced most of my steps of what I've done in Destiny 2 when I first played it, when I bought it from Activision Blizzard, from their store. But yeah, so far, honestly, to me it's been a lot of fun to dive back into some Destiny 2. You know, awesome shooting mechanics, feels really great, and the graphics actually are doing really well. Especially I think my RTX 2070 is showing its potential in that game quite a bit more than, let's say, in EVE Online or Banished or something like that, and it's just a joy to play at the moment. So we will see. I am going to try to pace myself though. I think I'll stick to like a couple of hours a day or something like that, just to try and see if or for how long I have that energy to come back to the game again and again, because, well, my next plan is basically the expansion of X4, but I'm not sure when that's going to drop, and that's when I'll start a new X4 playthrough as well. But overall, yeah, Destiny 2 for a free-to-play experience, I think it's definitely top-notch, so might be worth a look if you've never played the game and you enjoy like an RPG, well, a looter shooter mostly, basically, with, well, quite a bit of story and I think quite a bit of quality behind it as well. And that was my last week in games, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.